Do you like Rivers of Nile's new album? Let's talk about it. Did you see this? I bought into Archspire's new independent record Kickstarter campaign. Let me show you. I will tell you what 19 plus 48 equals. I also want to show you another good album that came out this year. Metal Pug is next. Welcome back to Metal Pug. My name is Jeremiah Was a Pug Dog. I want to be a rock star when I grow up. The purpose of this is to have fun and talk about music. If for some reason we can help out your band, project, or business, please reach out to us at deathmetalpug@gmail.com. I'd like to thank Alice Cooper for being on last week's episode. Let's go over Rivers of Nile's new album titled Rivers of Nihil, featuring the track Rivers of Nihil. No one's ever done that before, right? I was once at an Iron Maiden concert, and while I was there, I was drinking an Iron Maiden beer from an Iron Maiden koozie while the band Iron Maiden played the song Iron Maiden off of their album titled Iron Maiden, and then I died of dork. Joy to you and me. Rivers of Nihil are from the swing state of Pennsylvania and play a style most closely referred to as progressive death metal. They were at Reggie's last Wednesday, but I had shit to do. The concert at the end of May would have been a few days before the new self-titled album was released, which was May 30th, 2025. So I bet they played some of the new songs that night. We'll go over the new album, but first, let's take a trip down Rivers of Nile's past. I'm gonna go with Ron, Rivers of Nihil. That's a hard H, Ron. Ron is and has been a metal blade band. Very interesting group that I think most metalheads can agree on. Tech, progressive, but not crazy. They're more interested in creating like progressive songs rather than showing off. Sometimes a band or album is just too much, and I realize it when I hear it, and I'll just listen. I'll be like, I'm never gonna have time for that to like understand it and everything. That Gigian album that came out last year, I heard that and I basically just gave up right away. I was like, I'm never gonna be able to figure this thing out. The internet says Rivers of Nihil had 2 EPs before their first album. One of them was the Hierarchy EP, which was re-released in 2024. This fooled me last year as I didn't know it was from the past. I listened to it for a few times and I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is crazy. But it goes back to like 2009 or something. The EP and the band are progressive death metal right from the start, with like unexpected parts that just get better as the album goes along, and it gets like more creative in like a great way as you continue through it. You should definitely listen to it. I thought it was the filled-in vocalist, right? So I knew the vocalist had left. I thought it was the new filled-in like vocalist and bass player. As the vocals sound, much more like muted and like less discernible on this album. But I think I'm just rationalizing my hastiness in mixing it up. The first song, we get the down-tuned guitars that just hang these fat notes at the end of the song. It's very interesting. The ending of Post-Mortem Prostitution is awesome as well. Hierarchy is a great 4-song, 16 minutes of tunes. If I had a nickel for every post-mortem prostitution, too bad there wasn't lyrics. In October 2013, Ron released its first album, the progressively pretentiously titled The Conscious Seed of Light. By 2013, we had moved to like B as standard tuning at this point. The album feels very 2012 to 2016 to me. I recall Black Crown Initiate around this time, and that band will come up again. The first album from Black Crown Initiate was so cool. So check them out. If you like Rivers of Nihil and the algorithm hasn't recommended Black Crown yet, go take a peek at those folks after this video. The drumming on this album might be the most active in their catalog. The opening two songs just go together so well as planned. The first track, Terrestrial 1, The Thaw. This instrumental just sets up the next track, Rain Eater, so well. This is where we get to hear Rivers of Nihil have an awesome guitar tone with just that like wah kind of thing. Never really heard a song from them again quite like Central Anthem. Crazy guitar and bass on that one. Human Adaptation feels heavy with guitar and vocal interplay. Don't skip the final track. In lieu of like a raging closer, they create a cool like mellow death ending that feels uplifting for like 5 a.m. workouts. Keep your body active for your whole life so you won't regret it. Even if it's just like mosh pitting, keep moving, stay in shape, and as soon as this video is over, go outside. The album overall, right? The songs or parts are all cool, but when it's over, it's hard to recall like certain moments individually, leaving a I liked it, but I can't really recall it type of impression. Ron's second album, Monarchy, dropped in August 2015. Probably my least played album from them. After like a spooky little opening instrumental setting up like menacing vibes, it rolls into the song Perpetual Growth Machine that has like a cool open that forever immortalize their guitar sound at the 33-second mark. They'll later go on to perfect this sound on their next album. Each song is fine to listen to on the whole, but the whole album just lacks like moments that'll make you remember, like a big like crushing moment or flash or something that kind of sticks out is hard to recall on the album. Good instrumentation, but everything is flat or even. The title track might be the only song that's stuck with me. Now on to the granddaddy. In March 2018, Rivers of Nihil released the masterpiece, Where Owls Know My Name. This album is exactly what we needed in 2018. I do love this album. The first time I heard the opening track, I was not happy with it. It sounded like we were moving to like a boring Doom album. But then the chords to Silent Life fire up, and then the album just kicks in and the chugs take over, just starting, in my opinion, the best part of the album. I love the first two tracks. They're so orchestrated and so well executed, providing technicality and just bringing life to the songs. Silent Life, track 2, introduces us to the tastefully placed saxophone in metal. Yeah, 7 years later, and now that's in black metal. I remember hearing that for the first time and just going like, what the fuck? It works so well in the song though. They probably were not the first saxophone metal band, but they sure were the first that anybody cared about. We know a few saxophone players, right? The next song, A Home, in my opinion, starting with the simple like opening guitar riff, is just a perfect way to like start the next song after Silent Life with all of its like layered instruments and just quite the ride of a song, right? While overall, the track A Home is huge with like big choruses, and the opening like sets it apart from the rest of the album, right? Causing the listener just to kind of like take notice, right? It's just like da na 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 na, just that little riff, right? Just kind of like breaks it apart just perfect. Then the drums, the synchronization, and the performance just bangs. A lot of dynamics in this song, A Home. The next song, Old Nothing, takes a different route in its start with gnarly tremolos in the beginning or in the background, and then just like kick patterns just firing under the feet of the drummer. This is one of the best moments on the album. The first 4 songs are bangers. Probably one of, if not the best album to come out in 2018. The first 4 songs set up a nice tolerance for the next like real proggy track called Subtle Change, and every moment of that song is great. AI told us the album tells the story of the last man on Earth, made immortal by the planet itself to witness its slow demise. However, rather than focusing on a strict narrative, the lyrics lean into personal introspection, dealing with regret, isolation, and the passage of time. The Where Owls Only Know My Name album can get a bit proggy at times, even with like more organ music, more saxophone, and like the whole 9 yards. But the way it's laid out, you can dig into this, or you can stick to like the heavier, dare I say, more straightforward tracks. I've never really connected with the song Where Owls Know My Name. I don't get it. It was later released as a single, and I've heard that song live, and it seems to be a decent hit for them. When that like throwback video was released a while after the album, and didn't the singer start like dressing all in black and lose like 50 pounds around that time? I like the track Death Is Real as well. Great guitar solo, fun bass solo stuff towards the end of that song, just kind of playing along with the drums in that. There's a memorability to Where the Owls Know My Name album that after you hear it just kind of sticks with you, and I think that's one of the big reasons the album is so popular. Moving on to Rivers of Nihil's 4th album, The Work, which came out in September 2021. This was a big letdown for me, but it seemed like the critics liked it. The first track opens with piano and is quite frankly a bit dry. It feels like they got a little over their skis here, but it's trying to like get to a build up, but the album is just starts off so slow with this track. Track 2, Dreaming Black Clockwork, reminds me of like a Meshuggah song, right? Didn't they already write that? It at least fires like back up to metal, right? I did find a lot of this album just not very interesting. They love the song Wait so much that it's track 3 on the album. It's a clean and spoken vocal track with like dreamy guitars. By this track, I'm already so bored with the album though. The song Wait is a radio-friendly track, including like a happy sounding but like buried guitar solo in it, with happy vocals. Kind of 70s vibes, I guess. They don't know how to end it either, so it goes into like a playing the tape backwards kind of thing at the end of the track to lead it to the next song, Focus. Yes, I did re-listen to this just to make sure I'm not a cranky old man misremembering it. I do wonder if people who heaped a lot of praise on this album ever listening to it again. My issue that I pointed out is just it's kind of boring. Not going in too hard here, but I don't find it done in an interesting way. But fuck what anybody says about it, including myself. Make sure you check it out, for yourself. I'm probably blurring like what I got versus like, what I wanted, and I'm just kind of being like pissy about it. By the time you get to the song Episode on the album though, I'm beyond ready to change to like a different album. The Seasons theme just feels completely lost here. I'm probably not smart enough to like get it, but just to be clear, man, this is challenging music to make, and you should listen to Rivers Nihil because they are great. And I also want to point out on this album, there's a great message here. Do the work. I think metal fans know best, like life is suffering. Do the work. It'll improve by doing the work. Do the schoolwork. Not good at school? Do good at something else by working on something else. Or be working. Or work 2 to 3 jobs. Do a good job. Do the work. There you go, something I liked from it. There's other songs with long intros, but I'm just gonna move on so I don't have to talk about the acoustic part. Each of the first 4 albums has an instrumental track called Terrestria, and they're numbered sequentially, 1, 2, 3, 4. One each for each of the first 4 albums that are seasonally based, right? Spring, summer, fall, winter. Terrestria appears to be a made-up word that closely resembles something meaning like earth or land, so just like not like water or sea or anything. The Terrestria songs form an interconnected series across River of Nile's albums, acting as like instrumental interludes that reinforce the overarching seasonal themes is kind of the plan here. Each Terrestria track corresponds to the album it appears on, right? I had a moment where I nerded out and I put all 4 of these Terrestria T1 through 4 songs sequentially on a playlist. So I was thinking that they would all go together, but it doesn't really work that way. Right, so Ron are progressive, thoughtful people. So, you know, I thought like, well, maybe they're all in the same key or something else that like, you know, I don't understand without listening to them all together. Doing this, you know, didn't work out to be as cool as I thought, quite frankly. I thought they'd all kind of go together, but each song works better on their album as like a transitional spot for the album. Like take T3 for example, it's more keyboards than guitars. It's like an atmospheric, dramatic instrumental on the album. Dramatic music, like when they do like a cut montage, like at a cop investigating a crime scene or like doing lab work or something, like they'll show like, you know, the boring parts of them like going through and doing their concoctions and stuff, but they make it seem like more intense and dramatic by like adding this like music on top of it. On the album, these tracks just serve to kind of break up the flow, and so like on T3 it really just breaks up the flow after like a huge centerpiece track on the album. And then T4 is tacked on to the end of the winter album, The Work. 4 mentions the word winter, but you know, mostly it's about the work again. And I don't like 4. It's just like slapped together. There's like a terrible spoken word hallelujah part. And it takes like 8 minutes into the track before we get any kind of like interesting guitar work in this song, and it's just not worth it to get there, in my opinion. A lot of Ron's themes are around metaphysical concepts or nature, and you know, and I appreciate the connection and the grand scale and thought, but you know, I don't think these T4 1 through 4 tracks were meant to like go together. Rivers of Nihil parted way with their founding vocalist, Jake Diffenbach, in October 2022. The band announced the decision on social media, stating that while it was difficult, it was necessary. Rivers of Nihil asked fans to respect Diffenbach's privacy as he handled his affairs. Hail the goat, drink a Diffenbach! Diffenbach had been with the band since its inception in 2009 and contributed to all 4 of the studio albums at that point. Rumor has it he was born with a hearing disability, which affects his ability to hear in his ears throughout his life. I understand there might have been like a 2021 interview where he spoke about the challenges of continuing as a musician while managing his hearing loss. While the band did not explicitly cite his hearing loss as the reason for his departure, some fans speculated it might have played a role in his decision, but you know, that's just like Reddit bullshit. Who knows? Following his exit, the bassist Adam Biggs took over lead vocal duties on their tours. Also, they added Andy Thomas, formerly a Black Crown initiate, joined also and popped on for live performances and is on the new album as well. I've seen Rivers of Nihil with and without the original vocalist. So the first time I saw Rivers of Nihil, they opened up for Revocation. And at the time, that album, that Owls album, felt bigger than Dave's album. And he thanked them very much for being a part of the tour package and everything. And I love that show. I thought it was great. The songs hit. Now, the saxophone was a sample back then, at least on that tour. A little bit of a letdown, but those songs rocked with the original vocalist. The last time I saw Ron, he was part of one of those like chaos tours with Cattle Decap last year. Now the vocals were being handled by the bass player, who's also a monster on the bass as well, right? But more on that later. Honestly, that show felt a little off to me, or I didn't know that the vocalist wasn't there anymore, so maybe that was my perception. But there were a couple of bands that felt a little off on that. Cattle Decap was great, but maybe it was me. I don't like those flat warehouse kind of shows. I just don't care for like that kind of like arrangement where it kind of gets stretched out long type of thing. They also played a lot of songs from that Work album, and again, they just didn't hit live for me either. But that bass player Biggs, he was up front and he was just like singing and rocking those songs out, and just felt very like, I'm in charge, I'm here, I'm the front person, like, let's do this. I believe anything you say. Wake up or you'll be swept away in Rivers of Nihil. Rivers of Nihil released Rivers of Nihil May 30th, 2025. I was thinking about this. Probably a good time as any to have a self-titled album. New vocalist. The succession of the seasons kind of theme has ended. And they never had a self-titled album before, so it's good as time as any, I guess. Bands will have self-titled albums at times where they thought the sound or something was reset within the group, right? So we have the addition of a new singer on the album, and again, that is the guitarist Andy Thomas, and he contributes prominently with his clean vocals throughout the entire album. And again, Adam Biggs stepped in, the bassist, in the role of lead vocalist, right? So Thomas's clean vocals, they add this new, like, bigger, like, melodic direction to their progressive death metal sound. Every song in this album is like 4 to 6 minutes long, except the last one, which is like 3 minutes. But often each song is padded a little with like an intro, or most of the time it's actually like an extended kind of outro or something. But there's an aggressiveness to this album that is back a bit. There are cleans and there are slow movements, right, on this, but it has heavy parts that exceed the moments on that Work album, in my perception, right? It's hard to talk specifically about this album without going over each track, kind of, right? It's still progressive death metal. Most songs, especially like the middle set or chunk of songs, they feel like big, grandiose songs. The first song on the album, though, Suborbital Blues, is memorable, but they released that song like 2 years ago, right? So gave it like almost like not an exciting open to the album, because I assumed when that was released like so long ago that would kind of be like a standalone like song and not end up on the album, and that happens like one other time, I think, at least on this. But there is something to track 5, Water and Time, that just feels right. And the next track, track 6, House of Light, just huge chorus on that song that's just hard not to like, right? House of Light feels like the big centerpiece song on this thing. I'm guessing there was probably some debate on, whether this album should be called House of Light or, self-titled, I suppose. From track 6 to 7, House of Light to the raging song Evidence is great because it like mixes it back up. An Evidence song like breathes heavy like back into the album and just like kind of a great moment. Maybe the frontman who played bass has a little more like pull now, but just this whole thing, the percussion is just up front. I mean, the bass, the drums, not that they lacked on any of the other albums, but they feel really more forward on this one. The whole album just sounds so huge and awesome. I mean, really, this thing is giant. The drum footwork is fantastic and keeps me engaged and entertained during the whole like time. Then there's the song American Death. I mean, it's moved as close to an anthem as we may ever get from Ron. That chorus, right? I can't believe anything you say since the last revolution you tried to fake. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. This song will be like the sing-along hit of the album for sure.
The crippled bull of discord wrath than ever.
The album ends on the track Rivers of Nihil, starting mostly instrumental and then ending a lot heavier than it started. And I actually wonder if they considered kicking off the album with this self-titled track. I think that would have been kind of an interesting way to do it. It's got clean singing at the start, and then it gets heavy, right? And it's kind of like a condensed version, a 3-minute version of like the other tracks that are like 5 or 6 minutes long on the album. Is kind of how I would describe it. It might have been a little too soft of an open to the album though, to like kind of kick the thing off, especially when I consider like how like kind of mellow, the last album, The Work, kind of started off. But it would have been interesting to kind of like set the whole tone of the album with that song, right? I have listened to this album on like a travel JVC, like outside speaker kind of thing. I listened to it really loud on that speaker. So what the speaker does is it like removes like the small clutter or like nuances out of it. So like the little like synths and like little parts and embellishments kind of go away, and then it just puts everything up front, like vocals, drums, guitar kind of thing, and it still rocks. And what that tells me is that concert last week was probably good, because I think these songs will probably sound really, really good live based off of that. Hearing it from that speaker. It's an aggressive album with lots of subtlety built into it though, so do give it a listen. Otherwise, I like it. I really like it, but I definitely need more time with this album. I re-listened to the first Ron album and got a little like reinvigorated by it. The self-titled track, this self-titled album here, it's not going to be like Owl's level, right? I don't think, but it might become my second favorite Rivers of Nihil music for sure. Folks, this type of music they are playing should be respected. This is difficult stuff to execute, and everyone should be encouraging. Archspire created a video about its Kickstarter campaign to fund the next album to be ready about spring 2026. They asked for like 125, 150K, as Archspire put it, to be fully independent. Archspire are a fun band, like they get it. The whole like tech death thing, crazy music. Their last album in metal circles was a massive hit. Bleed the Future came out way back in October 2021, which seems like a long time ago. I still listen to a lot of this album frequently. Playlists include stuff like Golden Mouth of Ruin, the title track, AUM, and of course, say it with me, Drone Corpse Aviator. Go see Archspire live. I won't spoil anything, but they're a fun band. They celebrate the holidays, they play games, they just have a lot of fun. Last time I saw them, they had on like 90s apparel, so it'd be like parachute pants and gold chains and tank tops, complete with like light up Skechers from Ollie. They created a fun video celebrating possible independence from a music label. It was equal parts goofy and informative. Months back, we were discussing like on this channel ways to best support a band, right? Buying stuff, and in the Archspire video, they said that if they get like if like a $30 records purchase, so like, you know, a wax record, it nets them $3 is all. We remember like checking in with Nate from Spirited Drift about this, and he answered back too, like the best way to support bands, and he confirmed, is buying stuff from the band, right? Buying it on tour, or, you know, like buying it from Bandcamp. I still say, like, you know, tips go a long way here, I'm guessing. You know, like in my case, I don't need much shit anymore, so like I'll grab a patch and then just like have them like keep the change, you know? But you do what you need to do, or whatever you want, man. I mean, you gotta work long and hard and for a very long time before things get better. This fucking video is taking forever. Archspire pointed out a few times they do not own their music through a record label either. The record label owns it. I hope the video and Kickstarter are clear, but we do not own Archspire. We do not own the new album. We are getting advanced merchandise, including the new album, when buying in, which I think is explained pretty well in there, but the video is kind of a lot at once, right?
We should let them know that the album is pretty much recorded.
It's pretty much done.
Yeah, we're going back in a couple weeks to do drums.
There were a number of packages that you could purchase. Lower cost packages from as low as like $8 to be mentioned in their documentary, all the way up to like $2,500, $3,000 for like a signed guitar that they used was available. Death Metal Pug went ahead and bought in on the largest package that was not equipment like a guitar or like kick pedals or something. We'll show it on the screen here. And also we'll add the email that we received on the screen just to prove like we actually did it, and then it's not all like bullshit and stuff. We'll try to keep you up to date on the process. And Death Metal Pug, I mean, looks forward to the new album. The Archspire video mentions a documentary coming out in the next year about this process. They hope to make a blueprint for bands in the future. Also, there's a graphic novel based on the lyrics that's being created that'll like be a part of this too, I guess. So, not really my thing, but I know that I've been around long enough that I know enough people where like graphic novels are, you know, appreciated for sure. Now the video notes this album is written and recorded, except for the drums, which to me makes sense because I know they were like seeking out a new drummer a while back, and you know they're probably like, that's, you know, what they're doing now. I think drums kind of go in at the end anyway, right? They're taking a swing here. Death Metal Pug thought, well, let's have fun and like purchase a package, right? And we'll try to keep you updated. But you know, remember the whole like thing is expected delivery is spring of 2026. So we've got a whole year, folks. Think we'll still be doing this in a year? Probably not. If you take a look at this, be responsible in your purchase. If you don't own a home, have transportation to your job, or not like investing for your future, there's no need for you to fund Archspire. You will not own the album, you will not be remembered, and you will eventually die. The modest band, I Am Your God, released its new album, Triangle, in April. I Am Your God is some powerful melodeath, maybe with a whiff of power metal. Definitely more on the melodeath, but they are good at guitar. There's also like As I Lay Dying riffs that kind of come to mind to me on this thing. Some keyboards, but like not enough to distract or like have like a 15-minute like keyboard solo or something in this thing. The vocals sound really youthful. He can go clean in an upbeat way, so there's that. It has 12 listed tracks, but they straight up separate out the intro to 2 songs for sure. Then it has a cool like instrumental opening. So if you want to skip it, cool. The 2 intros to 2 songs, and they're called like the same as the song, but then it just says intro. The 2 intros are like piano intros, but you know, I think it shows like they get it. Like I Am Your God, like kind of get it. Like they broke the parts up to differentiate between like an album experience and then like a standalone song experience. Like why don't more bands do that? That might have been kind of good on that last on the Rivers of Nihil album for parts of that. This was a fun thing to listen to a few times for sure. I think hardcore guitarists will appreciate this even more. You know, a little bit of a, you know, maybe I need more to hear it a few more times, but you know, I kind of get the impression like sometimes like similar to like a band like Light This City. I'm just like not sure how sticky the songs are, or you know, like it's great when you're listening to it. It's great, but when the album is over, you kind of don't recall like big portions of it. You know, if you like like the Moonlight Sorcery album, Summoning the Lurch, or even I'd say like Cradle of Filth, this is definitely worth a listen on like a nice summer day. Check out I Am Your God's new album, Lambda, Lambda, Lambda. That's it! Death Metal!